Welcome to the second part of the video on Royal-Lac post-catalyzed application. In this segment, I'll show you how to lay down an even coat of Royal-Lac post-catalyzed using a pad. I always prefer padding over brushing. It gives me the ability to lay down thin and even coats since I have the luxury of diluting the finish in the pad. And yes, there is a learning curve on how to use a pad like any other technique, but once you master it, I am sure it'll be your choice of application. A golden rule in finishing is to apply thin and even layers. Using a pad lets you do just that. First, let's make a pad. For making a pad, I have cheesecloth and a 6-inch square of 100% linen for the outer cover. I use linen since it lints the least when compared to other fabrics. First, I fold the cheesecloth into halves. Next, I bring the corners in towards the center to form a ball. I use cheesecloth since it retains its shape very well. Next, I place the cheesecloth ball into the center of the linen, turn it over, and make a pad like so. The size of the pad is dependent on the amount of cheesecloth used. You can make a pad of any size that is comfortable for you. I also sand the surface with 400 grit sandpaper and a flexible sanding block. With my pad made, I have 2 squeeze bottles here. One contains Royal-Lac post-catalyzed with appropriate amount of catalyst added to it, and the other has denatured alcohol. I also have a scrap piece of wood for flattening the pad before application. Wearing gloves is important for your protection. First, I prime the pad by adding a few squirts of denatured alcohol to the outside and work it in. My pad is wet, but not overly wet. I cannot squeeze any alcohol out of it. Next, I charge the pad with Royal-Lac post-catalyzed. I work the finish into the pad and flatten it like so to get a flat surface for making contact with the wood surface. With the pad ready, I start at one end and move the pad all the way to the other end and return to the starting end with a 1/4 inch overlap. I'll repeat this pattern over and over again till I have a coat over the whole surface. You may have noticed that the finish in the pad is already halved due to the addition of the alcohol. This allows me to lay down thin and even coats. Also, during the application, I have the ability to charge the pad with finish and alcohol or just alcohol depending on the amount of finish already in the pad. I am not applying any downward pressure, simply holding the pad between my fingers firmly. By the time I reach this end, the starting end is already dry and ready for the next coat. I recharge my pad by adding some Royal-Lac post-catalyzed and about equal amounts of alcohol. Flatten it and start again from this end. Watch how I hold the pad. I don't hold the pad like so. Neither do I hold it like this. I hold the pad so that my fingers and circle the circumference of the pad, helping me hold it firmly. It gives me a very firm grip on the pad. It does not wobble during application. If I hold the pad like this, it will wobble as I move it over the surface. If I hold it like this, it will wobble too. Hence, I grasp the pad like this. I charge the pad again with Royal-Lac post-catalyzed and equal amounts of alcohol and start the process again. I can go in any direction I want to. I can go in circular motion, or figure 8 pattern, or with the grain. Another aspect of padding is to know how to start the application with the pad. At the start of a pass, I gently glide down and touch the pad to the surface and proceed on. I do not place the pad down like this and start the movement. I always glide down gently and start moving the pad. When I'm done with a coat, I simply take it off the surface. Since I'm applying thin layers, the surface is already dry. I'll continue on, and this time I'll start at this end with a circular movement. It is very important that once the pad touches the surface, it needs to keep moving. If you want to stop, take the pad off the surface first. When my pad runs out of finish, I recharge and start the process again. I'll keep doing this for 5 or 6 passes at a time. Then I'll give the finish some time to dry and return again. I do this all day till I get a thin and even layer of Royal-Lac post-catalyzed on the surface. If I need to carry the process on the next day, I can do that too. Once I reach the thickness, clarity, and depth that I'm looking for, I stop and let the finish cure for 5 days. When the pad is not in use, I simply place it in a bottle with a tight closing lid. Next day, I'm at it again. I think a few more coats should do it. A very common question that I get is how do I apply a finish with a pad in tight corners, nooks and crannies, or sharp transitions? The best way to handle these situations is to combine brushing and padding. With a little bit of practice and some patience, you can do it. Let me show you how. Here I have simulated right angle transitions and a corner. I'll use a paintbrush like this one. First, I prime the brush with denatured alcohol. Next, I apply some finish. Starting from this end, I gently lay down a coat. and do the same to the mating side. I recharge my brush and follow the same process for the other side. Then I take the pad, which is already charged with equal parts of Royal-Lac post-catalyzed and denatured alcohol, and even out the brush strokes. Now to do the corner, I charge my brush and follow the same steps as shown previously to brush and to even it out. I hope you feel more confident in finishing your pieces of furniture after seeing these videos. Yes, there is a learning curve, but with a little bit of practice and some patience, you can easily do it. Thanks for watching, and feel free to ask questions anytime. Till then, goodbye.